I realize I'm totally late to the party on the whole John F. Kennedy assassination anniversary thing. So just hear me out. I was actually really busy. John F. Kennedy has a tremendous legacy, not just in the US, but around the world as well. His family is practically political royalty, and blah, blah, blah. We all know that. The assassination, blah, 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 that's going to go on basically forever wondering what really happened. Here's what I think is important to keep in mind. Kennedy was a symbol for his time. Keep in mind this was the early 60s when a lot of the civil rights thing was really beginning, and society, U.S. society, but the world as well, was going through a change. And what he represented at that time was, what they call a moderate voice. It's like, we can do better, but we won't fundamentally challenge anything. And I think that's truly what he really represented. He was a nice, soft, calming, moderate-sounding person in a world that was getting ready for major, major strife. And, that strife did come. But I do think that's like one of the appeals that he had. If Kennedy proved anything, it was that his whole role was to look at the problems of society and see how we could solve them without inherently challenging the system. You could think of him as a kind of pressure valve where certain aspects of civil society were getting ready to blow. They were ready to break out into something really big, and he was the release valve that kept at least that steam, that while that steam got out, it didn't destroy the boiler room. And I think that's really what he was intended to do, and I think that's the role that he played very well. He was kind of like the social democrat. He kept putting a human face on what is an inhuman system. He kept advocating social programs in place of abolishing capitalism. And I think he was that to a tremendous degree. He talked a lot about having peace in Vietnam, and he talked a lot about, if we make peaceful revolution impossible, we make violent revolution inevitable, which means in the context of the global imperialist system at the time, let's let's alter the form of the dictators that we have in Latin America. Let them look progressive. Let people vote. Just make the vote not count. Think about this. He said this at the time of the Cuban Revolution. He spoke of peace and, letting peaceful revolution happen. Meanwhile, they endlessly tried to kill Fidel Castro, and we had the whole Cuban Missile Crisis. They invaded Cuba. Where was all that talk then? Because I think the real content was to promote a reform of the Latin American dictatorships that existed. Let them have a nice veneer of officialdom, that they're somehow democratic and people freely chose. I mean, kind of the same thing that, have the United States, the UK, Canada, Australia, whatever, where you have a vote, but the vote really doesn't count for anything because you're not really choosing between really a different anything. And I think that's what it was. It was the death of the traditional Latin American dictator backed by the US and replaced with one that had a more democratic face. At least that's what I gleaned, or that's what I see from the speech. So, while yes, I missed the boat on the anniversary of Kennedy's whole assassination thing, I just thought I wanted to make those quick points right off now. Thank you for watching. Go ahead, rate, comment, subscribe, share on various social media, and if you want, there's some other great content here you could check out.